Так, теперь должно быть сейчас готово. Сейчас посмотрим на звук. Вроде бы все нормально. Сейчас сделаем кое-что. Так. Так, посмотрим, если игра. Я музыку сделаю потише. Потому что, как мне кажется, она громкая. Сейчас сделаю анонс в группе. То, что у нас начался стримчик. Так, посмотрим, если игра. Я музыку сделаю потише. Потому что, как мне кажется, она громкая. Сейчас сделаю анонс в группе. То, что у нас... Немножко приболела. Немножко так. Ну да ничего. Я буду рада репостам, всему этому обычному делу. Так, теперь я хочу посмотреть, будет ли у меня игра на стриме. Потому что... Так. Вдруг я что-то не то сделала. Сейчас. Оп. Так. Не знаю, что так долго. Просто тут хочу проверить, чтобы все было в порядке и не было никаких тут проблем с стримом. Смотрю, тут нету изображения. Угу. Видимо, что-то не то сделала. Что-то, наверное, не появляется. Неужели у меня ничего так не работает нормально? Допустим, если тут сделать вот так рано. Наверное, придется так вот стримить, потому что я чутка зафейлилась. Тогда вот это... Нет, вот это тогда я убираю. Мы тут так вот сделано. Угу. Все отлично. Так, тогда я делаю сейчас музыку потише. Вот так вот, если меня нормально слышно, пожалуйста, отпишитесь. Потому что вдруг нет. Next. Можно продолжать как раз таки. Или хотите, я могу музыку вырубить. Да, я выключу. Если никто не против. Как игра? Слышно? Слышно или нет? Как же мне нравится ее шляпка. Мне вот эта вот деталь бесит, и как будто тут она отходит. Вот эта вот деталь от самой шляпки там снизу. Там собачка на фоне. Похоже на собачку там. Так, снять звук. Сейчас мне надо кое-что. Блинский ты камикадзе. Извиняюсь, тут технические неполадки. Наушник выпал. И я сейчас просто надену свой кулон. Удачливый. Все, извиняюсь за шумы. Она классно выглядит, если честно. Классный это маникюр. Мне кажется, что там немножко с голубого переходит, с белого в голубой такой немножко. М. М. Нет, все-таки игру немножко плоховато слышно. Сейчас исправим. Потому что я себе, помню, делала немножко так тише из-за некоторых моментов.
Ah, valid point. I overlooked that part. I was just thinking about leveraging a person's desire for sleep. All right, no more joking around. Perhaps you could. Oh, you did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations. False accusation she had nearly upheld
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Oh, that does make some sense. Why don't we give it a try after this meal? You know, strike while the iron is hot and all.
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
Понту.
Was this your drink?
Да, уже действительно.
Sorry about that. Paimon wasn't really paying attention in the...
No, it's fine. We're just about done here.
Alright. Honestly, Paimon wouldn't recommend Fanta anyway. It tastes kind of salty and
Это
icky.
соленое и вообще невкусное.
Is that so? Huh. Well, in that case, we'll have to blacklist the Fanta here then. If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
Yeah, we're stuffed. Thanks for the treat. Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore.
М.
Nah, that would be so... normal.
Да уж, действительно, блин, необычно.
Okay. As for...
Hey, Navia! What are you doing over there?
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di
Говорит.
Rosula can't cover.
Говорит о том, что у человека не осталось денег на проживание по какой-то степени. Я люблю это.
Let's get ready to try to meet the Hydro Archon again. Bye, Navia!
Бедная Навия.
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble
Как же
in
мне нравятся ее
Fontaine,
ножки.
you're always welcome to
Честно.
contact the Spina
Такие
di
классные
Rosula.
сапожки.
I'll give your request the highest priority. In any case, I wish you smooth sailing. I'll see you again, partner.
See ya!
Мгм. Мгм. Это у нас где? Мгм. Тут, на фонтане. Опа, рыбный магазин. Так, общественная организация славной рыбалки, которая есть по всему Тайвату. Снова эта ассоциация. Ну да, у меня что-то тут фонтан не открыт. Я жду больше сейчас снежную. Потому что как-то она мне больше, что ли, нравится, или я не знаю, честно. Песик? 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 Утебосик какой? Утебосик какой милашка? Какой милашка маленький. Утебоски. Ладно, это задание пришла не на песика смотреть. Он за мной бежит, нет, не беги, пожалуйста.
There aren't many people around anymore. Looks like...
Vache.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler?
Я чуть лечу от него.
That's...
Vache? Vache.
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? Huh? Hang on. Hey, traveler? Stop walking!
О, прям в транс выходит. Входит, не выходит. Транс, да. В транс входит. Мы сейчас какие-то будем как какие-то пьяни... Японские. Океанида?
Vache, are you my dear Vache? No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know Vache? Wait. Who am I? I'm very sorry. I fear I do not know. My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. So many fragments dissolved amidst the tide, never to be recovered. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten? Yes, that is what I was
Японский
once.
мать.
But now,
Японский камикадзе не
I am but the
падает.
consciousness of one who is
Взявший свою
lost,
форму.
therefore. I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in light blue water, and then all grew dim. I also remember going to many places. No matter where I went, Vache would go with me. I knew how dearly... But now, we can no longer go back. The pain of such parting. I never knew how heavy it could be. No, our reunion no longer has any meaning. There is no way for us to create any new memories. The thought of me gives him no succor. So let it lie forgotten beneath the waters. If you meet Vache, tell him not to look for me. Tell him to move on. That is the only thing Perhaps that is so. As I was submerged in the waters, losing consciousness, I saw Vache above the surface. If only I could have comforted him. Told him that I did not suffer. Indeed, I had felt a great war. Is that what you call it? Dissolving. It was a state of neither fear nor frenzy, with only an endless peace. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time, and only then sees how they have lived for so long in a world of endless want and anxiety. I think I hear your companion. It's time for you to go, I think. Farewell, then. I am glad that you were able to sense my presence.
Не искал. Ну ладно. Потом поищем этого вашего Вашера. Ну и скажем ему эти слова. О, молчи. Что за... Ёлы-палы.
Look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex.
О, еще наверное кто хочу убить.
Rand? Quick, now's our chance!
Брущица? Ого. Так. Очень много сейчас чего происходит.
I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Clorand. But before I do so, could you explain how you managed to show up here?
Стоп, подождите-ка. Все очень быстро сейчас происходит. А что сейчас произошло, я вообще без понятия, честно. Почему на нас... Как бы на нас напали из-за чего-то? Окей, ну, спасибо, что она двуручница, мне нравится.
I followed you. It seemed to me that danger has followed you more closely as of late.
Ошибись, мы разговариваем с закрытым ртом. Твоя версия, как всегда, не
I believe
кричачи.
that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust. He would do the same, were he alive today.
Ее отец.
Do not speak of my father.
Sorry, demoiselle. I was not strong enough.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Clorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech. I believe we all wish to avoid unnecessary emotional harm.
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you come to the conclusion that I'd be in grave danger?
I doubt I know much more than you, but I believe that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances is your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest, I'm shocked it's taken them this long to act against me. And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means, deploying them as a private force of sorts.
Ничего скажешь, что это Арлекино. Потому что я по трейлеру, помню, видел по некоторым спойлерам. Тут случайно мне подать в шортсах, что там просто честь, по-моему, была Арлекино, Невелит и... Наша Фурина, или как она там. Нет, Фурина совсем другой. Ну, короче, наш гидроархонт. Судья наша. Мне кажется, что это правда, что это именно Арлекино в чем-то тут виновата.
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful, and do not act rashly.
I will continue investigating no matter what. We will bring the truth to light. That's my father's true last wish. Regardless, thank you for your help today, Clorand. But if you get any ideas, tell me first. I don't much appreciate being followed.
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon. So I shall stop following you. Good day, all.
Right. I suppose that's the best news we've gotten today.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clorand was being sincere with you.
I know, she's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were dumb! Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and her gang saved us! Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Clorand who came out to save us too! We got lucky there. Paimon probably couldn't have fought them off otherwise.
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a farewell meal we had back there. Not for me, anyway. In truth, I hope that every meal we have together shall be a victory feast. As such, we're still partners. There's no need to thank me.
It will take 50 years for me to match Demoiselle's magnanimity.
If it were me, I would have joined the Spina di Rosula.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger?
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off, Paimon.
Huh? Really?
Yes, all thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake.
How did...
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases when I suddenly that the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors, so how could it have tasted salty? The color of the drink, if I recall, had also been a bit off.
So the Fanta had been spiked with water from the primordial sea?
Yes, So, if you hadn't drunk that
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards.
Huh. Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate. But whoever did this left no trace at all. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger and hurried here as quickly.
What? Why would they go after us too? All we did was defend Linny in court and help clear his name.
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of, and almost got their name in the process. Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the
Well, it can't be coincidence that the traveler fainted just now. She said, oh, and this time Paimon heard it too. But it was real faint. Does this situation have to do with the primordial sea? Does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sensitivity to hydro when it's used on people?
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing, to be honest.
New intel?
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh. Vache. That name doesn't ring a bell. I suppose he hasn't stepped forward. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, he was at least at the crime scene. But he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the primordial seawater. Could he have been threatened? Yes, thank you. This is very important information indeed. We will continue to investigate. Oh, you mean you look...
Well, you did say that our fair... And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those people who targeted us...
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased.
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back to one of our bases, shall we? Also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds as partners. But we'll take that one step at a...
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our base...
А теперь мне стало что-то интересно. Получается, всех пропавших девушек именно растворили от до Первозданного моря. Или как оно называлось. Да уж. Жестоко. Ну, может, я так думала, это какая-то даже какая-то степень жестокая смерть для них. Потому что, ну, ёлы-палы. Не, я понимаю, там все такое, ну, ё-моё. Я чутка сегодня не выспалась. Нам сегодня в мою комнату, я сплю с закрытой дверью, выбил мне дверь. Из-за чего произошел очень громкий звук. Как будто во что-то ударилось. В итоге я не смогла потом еще поспать еще 3 часа. Ладно, хватит. Надо тут играть. Опа, слышала какую-то вкусняшку.
It's right up ahead, but let's make...
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone's...
Very good.
I shall find rooms for our...
Thank you, Malus. Now,
Ну, вот так вот сделаем. Нормально. Чётенько, прям вниз. Откуда он был? А, человек. Окей. Медведь тут. Хвостик. О, телепорт. Мы ведь это жаловались, что в этом... Как этот регион назывался? Забыла. А, я забыла. Вот крутится слово, но забыла. Короче, регион Нахиды, где были очень большие все время эти пещеры, а мы на это еще и жаловались. А тут оп, многоуровневые моменты.
So, this is your base?
Your accommodations have been arranged.
After all, we don't.
Seems like it's tough.
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father.
Your father, he would.
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to...
And no, I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run. My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor, instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel. 3 years later, I still don't understand why he did that. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, he gave up his chance to defend himself. The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in. But, however, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, they must know something. I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend. If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me.
Опа.
And now, here I am investigating his death. You really are a handful, aren't you, Papa?
Если папа говорит, почему тут папочка? Могли бы написать это бы Дэйди, чтобы она сказала, как Дэйди.
Demoiselle, please.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case. Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our strained finances at present.
Wait, if Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least be
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something exclusive. People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
Извиняюсь, пью воду.
Never mind. If Callus was really falsely accused, we have to find the truth. He didn't deserve to have that happen to him.
There is one other thing. Master Callus's
Oh,
opponent in the duel was Ms. Clorand.
Oh, her? Well, then, yeah, that's not the sort of thing.
Ms. Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him, but seeing how he was resolute, there was only ever one choice.
It's not that I don't understand her at all, but
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how you feel.
Afterward, Ms. Clorand told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensure Demoiselle Navia's safety. Yes, that is our understanding.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me? All right, anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Even if it did sound like I was just complaining towards the end. Thanks. You two should go and rest. This was quite a day.
Yeah,
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure...
Paimon slept so well. This place feels... Huh? Navia?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them to do here at the...
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your... But never mind that. When did you get back?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did...
Wait, so you didn't...
How could I after having such critical new evidence of...
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for everyone to...
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have... I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But...
Does that mean...
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find, and that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. A place where detailed files on all the if the Oceanette you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able...
So Neuvillette maintains an archive of case files? Whew. In that case, let's go talk...
No, it's nothing. The palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Пожалуйста, гони. Так, приветствую, если кто-то еще тут сидит на стриме.
Halt! Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently... This place does look pretty heavily guarded.
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or who you might be.
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep. Paimon can tell.
If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit. Unlike some, we're busy, so please...
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago?
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird. You must be Linny's...
We're here today to report and archive some information on a
Huh. Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official business.
All right then, I'll let you through. The Chief Justice...
Thanks.
О, внутри, отлично. Так. Дайте. Бэтмен!
Please come in.
Зайди. Ох ты ж. Ну, блин, ну, простите, тут надо вот это сделать, вот так вот идти. Потому что уж, простите, но тут... Мне что-то вот это вот хочется сделать. Какая хмурая булочка с корицей.
Sorry to barge in, Monsieur Neuvillette.
It's all right. Please let me...
So you're not...
We're looking for a man called Vacher. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case.
Ah, I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the files.
Боже, как он красивый, не могу. Если мне нравится вот это вот у него брошь. Если получится, я ее закажу, возможно, с чокером. Да, конечно, выйдет на копеечку, но кто ж знает. Какие у него глазки еще.
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vache has been involved in any case, criminal or... There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Traveler, what if it was...
Is that so? I'll write that.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a truly exceptional man.
And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some tendril of regret? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind your words. You only said those things because you felt like you should.
Ты же не Серёж, классно. Ох, этот взгляд, я просто не могу, этот мужчина.
It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort.
Простите, наверное, тут мне кажется, у них какая-то пара.
You even told me then that you thought there was something
Ну,
fishy
я
with
их
the
не
case,
шиперю.
yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead.
Если что, ребят, я их не шиперю. Для меня только Ризли с Ньювиллетом, да, два верховных судьи. Просто они слишком похожи друг к другу.
In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing. If you truly regret my father's death, then
Ох
why
ты ж.
didn't you call a stop to the duel?
Ребят, ну я сделаю скрин.
Why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just the tiniest effort could have changed everything. There are still so many things I never got to tell him. So if you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the true meaning of regret.
Ох ты же, ё-моё. Сейчас, ребят, подождите. Вот моя кнопка. Сейчас. Мне просто понравился тот кадр, где она так вот эмоции показывает. Угу.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all. It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never express anything. Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Кто ж? Мне пока что нравится сюжетка больше, чем Надзума и наша любимая богиня Нахида. Честно. Я просто забыл, как называется он. Не Надзума,
Navia, are you
Ладно.
okay?
Что, подскажите, пожалуйста.
I'm fine.
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building? And there shouldn't be any active trials?
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder, it was also raining.
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? Do you think the rain could have affected the crime scene? That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait.
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water? Yeah! And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even
Да,
if
да
he
уж.
explained what he
Кстати.
saw to the authorities.
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. You're completely right. How did I not connect? All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in mind, we'll get to...
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure this time.
Если что, пишите там в чате, как меня слышно, как стрим слышно. Играли там вообще слышно.
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to... Great.
Сложно.
Let's go then.
Да уж, ну тогда это правда объясняет, почему не нашли убийцу. Но вопрос, как убийца мог раствориться в дожде, если там не использовали воду первозданного моря, или как она там называлась? Ох ты жля, какие птички. Вы посмотрите на этих птичек. Хватит прыгай ты. Большеклювый. Даже я скакать не могу. Может, кому-то ты на Zoom зашла, кому-то... Сейчас. Зашла это... Блин, я забыла, как называется регион. Сумер, вот. Тут прочитала, не забыла, как называется регион с Нахидой. Сумеру. Но мне пока что больше заходит пока что Фонтейн. Не знаю, как там будет с... Ну что ты улетел, дебил. И он и тех еще спугнул. Двух прыгающих. Или одного прыгающего. Друга с шилом в заднице, который не может успокоиться. И другой просто такой: блин, как же ты заколебал, успокойся уже. Кстати, мы можем также, если хотите, посмотреть какой-нибудь сериальчик. Могу спокойно это сделать.
What a huge ship!
There's no need to be so surprised. Well, my father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our taste in exterior design is the only thing we... A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di Rosula had a... Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in the sewer. But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself, she's been
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all.
Такс. А, вон она там внизу все увидела. А, то есть так вот можно сделать, точно. Алло, а где тут у нас воздух? Ну, окей. Да, пожалуй, попробуй забраться по этой вот железке. Да, вот. Использовать венти. Мне пока что нравится вот сюжет Фонтейна с его жестокостью. Потому что, блин, тут уже как-то, ну, не нянчится, что ли. Да уж, мне успех, боже, помоги. Кстати, выходит, как я поняла, еще сейчас в бета-версии или какой там версии находится игра, похожая немножко на геншин, на Warframe тоже. Я думаю, я буду ее тоже стримить, потому что мне сам трейлер зашел. Музыка там шикарная. Там взяли из всех игр, которые вот именно сейчас, ну, как-то уже держатся на плаву хорошо, и сделали это все в одну. Я там точно буду брать девочку гидроида. У нее классная ульта, честно, у нее очень классная ульта, она мне прям зашла. Ну и, конечно же, похожего на Миссу Прайм девочку. Женщину красивую.
Maloose, we're back!
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and our most important... You said before that you still had some business at the court. What brings you back to Port...
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You still remember, right, Maloose?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's. Both were what you'd call impossible.
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, at a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and...
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be...
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created using water from the primordial sea. If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety, while lacking energy to do as he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse, and called for a complete...
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath. Not only that, Boss became determined to...
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get anything out of the dealers, all of whom only sold the stuff and weren't privy to the... Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. Finally, he was able to convince them. The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some... But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground.
Huh? How did that happen? Aren't they on the same side?
Может, ее отец просто такая вот теория принимал как раз этот самый напиток, чтобы понимать, как он действует. И из-за того, что он его слишком много выпил, и из-за этого он стал таким вот немножко дёрным. Все-таки его правда того. Но это еще пока что неизвестно. Это просто пока что теория.
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene. Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2 shots were fired. You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the...
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on Boss with 0 warning. I think this third person is probably the key to the full truth. On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as you're and your father's butler, I must still offer a word of warning. Our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult to deal with, and Boss has already lost his life trying to bring them to justice. Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace, and we have been allowed to live out our lives. There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise and in line with Boss's wishes to step back and give up on the case.
Мне что-то он кажется в этот момент немножко подозрительным. Да, понимаю, что он, может быть, устал от этого всего. Просто, но... Ну, что-то уж подозрительно много.
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he should have told me that himself. Was I not the closest person to him? And yet, I was the one most kept in the dark.
Чтобы ее защитить. Может, так бывает.
What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect... Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death? And live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day, and certainly not. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and more importantly, Demoiselle, I think you're also ready to take...
So you do know something else, Malus?
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, Demoiselle,
Следующей
been
жертвой.
selected as the next target to disappear.
What?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness. The doctors told him that he had no more than 5 years left to live, and the serial disappearances case caused him great anxiety.
Ух ты ж, ёлки-палки. Чтобы не мучиться эти последние 5 лет, он решил все-таки на эту дуэль.
5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But once he passed away, all the danger would pass on to you. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told some members of Spina di Rosula about the details. But as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappeared victims.
Right. So nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, the other side has not tried to take Demoiselle's life.
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to look...
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss.
Это да.
To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful was still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
So he chose to die in silence, so that he could protect me.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, Demoiselle. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer, I'm sure he'd be extremely proud.
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight?
Она уже готова заплакать.
No. He
Да.
might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be able to understand him. Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now? Yeah. I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just lived out my life without a care in the world. But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. In this case, he really didn't need to give me an easy way out.
Мне все-таки кажется, что это именно в Фатуе крадут людей. И вот как говорила океанитка эта, она умерла без каких-то там мучений. То есть они могли использовать воду из первородного моря, или как оно там называлось, я сейчас уже немножко не вспомню. У меня очень быстрая память. Чтобы все жители могли как-то, умереть без таких вот как-то мучений. Но, видимо, Линни и Линет про это могли бы не знать. Возможно, они об этом не знают. Но я не знаю.
Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared with you?
It's the location where Synth is produced. Essentially, when he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the specifics of the incriminating evidence he found. But if you want to use it against the enemy, you'll still have to take...
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storming in?
Это слишком опрометчиво. Они могут знать про это, как раз то, что они хотят ворваться и подготовить именно ловушку.
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization that's been in operation for decades. There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea what kind of evidence we may be able to find inside. But a single visit to their headquarters would be tantamount to a formal declaration of war. The worst case would be that we leave empty-handed. But
Then, in that case, why not work with the Fontaine Authority?
well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case. We have no idea just how thoroughly they may have been infiltrated.
Видимо, прям до полной.
That's true. Seems my father really had no choice, but things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt, now that we've connected Synth with—
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this, Maloose.
I am the butler, after all. I live, but I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my time keeping secrets.
Thank you for all of that, Maloose.
Let me think. One conclusion I came to is that the enemy must be quite familiar with Spina di Rosula. When I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately— If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors backed after several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the suspect list down to 3 people. The first is Florent, Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also, thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans and could thus avoid capture. There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're one of the richest guilds around, with a lot of business connections in the city.
So, they're like a sister organization of Spina di Rosula?
Yes, you can say that. When we were fighting against the synth dealers, it's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to hunt down themselves.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to report to the local authorities. Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could theoretically
I see. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along, among those I trust the most. It's—
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience, the enemy is extremely cautious.
Of course. And thank you, Maloose. You've provided us with a—
You're too kind, my lady. I'm just doing my duty. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. They still live in Poisson today. If it might help, you could also pay them a visit. I can—
Aw, thank you so much, Maloose.
A new case awaits, my dear partner.
Мне больше кажется, что Милус — это как тот же Альфред из вселенной DC у Бэтмена.
I hope we can work together to uncover the truth and end this case.
Могу просто так забрать, но тут только десяточка мне будет. Ну тут все эти выполнить. Тут получается 40 плюс потом еще 20, 60 я получу, а тут только 10. Я предлагаю ему только ежедневки сделать, а уже это потом забрать. Да, это прикольный способ, так сразу же, если нету времени, если, можно сказать, на ежедневки, ты можешь спокойно забрать награду и все. Готово. А, сверху. Ну, старый способ. Дедовский. Забираемся наверх. Так, я пока что не буду...
It is settled then. Please excuse.
Thank you for arranging it. Excuse me, miss.
Нужно недружелюбно к нам относиться.
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time.
Ah, if it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rosula sent us a lot of mora and support.
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand the kind of...
You don't understand at all.
I didn't know how to face you. Because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation. I know only the full truth could bring closure to you.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment, but you don't have to carry all that. On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have more or less...
Would you mind sharing it with me?
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again. He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. For the longest time, he thought Mora was everything. So when Mr. Callis came to him with a proposal, he accepted it almost immediately. He tried to be as careful as he could, but even so, he was still found out by the higher-ups.
They found out about his betrayal?
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was his final farewell. I don't know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion I have. Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callis had always taken great care of us, even if he fired the shot that killed my husband. It was likely in self-defense. It is impossible for me to hate him.
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy if he did the right thing? Papa always wanted to be a good man, so why did he have to do a bad thing in the end?
Well, things aren't always as they seem.
Yeah, Papa was a really good...
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad thing, regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword, he must have done so to give you a better life.
Oh.
Thank you for everything you've told me. I will definitely find the truth.
Thank you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is really similar.
You really think so? That's the first time anyone said that to me.
Are you okay, Navia?
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next. Florent should be nearby, and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in the city.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
I'm sure you've heard about
Yeah, I've heard.
it also. After my partner here put the dots together for me, I feel like we should try to reopen his case. Can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that night?
Let me think. Mr. Callis was feeling pretty upbeat that day. After that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. My first reaction was that Mr. Callis's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster, but when I got there, it was already too late. Mr. Callus was standing over a dead body with a gun in his hands.
So you also remember two.
Indeed. The guard said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. But I've never really bought that explanation. Reason being, Mr. Callus had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to confirm that before running to the scene. But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other about the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned. Do you think there was a third person there who was turned into water?
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. So he would also have no reason to bring an extra gun with him. The gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques, or a third person on the scene.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying Mr. Callus ended up with the gun because But hold on. If that's what had happened, he didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine, and chose instead to prove his honor in a duel. Did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing someone dissolve right in front of his eyes?
About that, Malouse told me a thing or two. So, I think I'll tell you everything once the whole truth.
I understand. Then I'll leave Mr. Callus's honor in your hands, boss. And if I may just say one more thing. The whole Callus the Unfaithful epithet. Many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callus. But it was Mr. Callus's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of Spina di Rosula. And no matter what others might say, he'll always be the man I respect the most.
Don't worry. You and all our other comrades at the Spina deserve to know the truth as well.
Тосик, тебе нормально? Он физику сломал, ребят. Он физику сломал. Алло? Не ломай физику. Ну уже пройдись тут уже, а то как-то странно. Не. Офигел, че, братус. Тут точку. Мы так вот переместимся. Ой.
Hey, Thierry, it's me.
Oh, now, what brings you here?
Oh,
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the guards, you know.
are you sure there isn't a little bit?
I mean, Callus did a fantastic... It would be next to... Anyway.
Ah, yes. What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Linny's case and my father's may be related. We're trying.
Ah, I get it. You think there might be more to the case now that we know people can be dissolved into water, right? I was also flabbergasted when I first heard of it. If you want to go through the original files from your father's case, I can help you look for them.
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Actually, I have another question.
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly handle... Why do you ask? We definitely can't use them to forcefully get...
Well, you see, just recently, we were attacked by a horde of unnumbered Gardamex in the city. So, if you hypothetically wanted to do something against me, all you would need to do is get rid of the mecha serial number.
Then you think too highly of my abilities. If I had to make an analogy, When you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but not to massage your shoulders. If you try to make unreasonable demand, removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. There are a lot of complex steps to it, and it's almost impossible to keep it a secret. So I can promise you, those mecha were definitely private units. They're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super rich, powerful, or...
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Oh, jokes aside, I'd like to wish you all the best. I'll be staying in the city for...
Во всех форме. Я не могу, он до сих пор такой милый. Ух ты ж. Не знаю, почему, ребят, но мне сейчас стало не скучно, но у меня почему-то так плохо стало состояние. Я еще немножко приболела. Вот совсем много. Вот чиха бывает, мне кашель сильный. Вот поэтому у нас сейчас все многие на работе болеют. И как вот, если хотите, я могу пока что закончить стрим, и если что, мы можем продолжить завтра или же сегодня попозже, когда мне станет полегче, если мне станет полегче. Уже не в геншин надо поиграть, а в лигу или в какую-нибудь еще игру. Я могу устроить как раз опрос. И если что...
If you lie on the grass, you can feel the heartbeat of the world.
Тогда, если что, потом, может быть, как раз таки это... Я уже заикаюсь, уже не так... Уже могу нормально. Если хотите, могу как раз таки устроить потом еще один стрим. Сегодня, если мне станет полегче. Если нет, то, возможно, завтра устрою стрим. Потому что я думаю, стримить каждый сегодня день. Если мне будет выпадать свободное время. Но так как мне немножко стало сейчас, правда, не очень, честно. Либо у меня опять температура, и у меня сейчас снова начала что-то подкруживаться голова. Поэтому, думаю, правда, надо закончить стрим. Извиняюсь за свою тавтологию. Но все равно всем благодарна, что пришли. Всем спасибо, всем пока.